So you probably heard some news about some ongoing massive global issues like flooding, intense droughts, wildfires, and rising sea levels. But did you know that it's caused by one simple and very terrifying thing? It's called climate change. We're all gonna die. Climate change. What is it? Well, it basically refers to long-term changes in temperatures and weather patterns through a process called the greenhouse effect. What this phenomenon does is that it traps heat that is close to the Earth's surface with these type of harmful gases called greenhouse gases, which consists of carbon dioxide, methane, nitrous oxide, and whatever toxic gases these are. Just think of it like a huge blanket wrapping our planet and keeping us warm. But as the temperature continues to rise, world-altering consequences will happen, such as intense droughts, storms, dreadful heat waves, wildfires, rising sea levels that is caused by the melting glaciers, and warming of the oceans that can directly harm marine life. And if it were to continue, these catastrophic changes will happen more frequent, more intense, and larger in effect. Plus, it will destroy our homes and the global biodiversity. But long ago, climate change was not a serious problem because it only used to happen due to natural causes like volcanoes and fires. Until a certain species of primates called Homo sapiens started roaming on Earth and eventually establishing global-wide civilizations. Jumping forward in time, after many human developments, in the 1800s, one of the most biggest breakthroughs in human history occurred, called the Industrial Revolution. This was a period in human history when major mechanization and innovation in the economy occurred. These technological advancements introduced many new types of jobs and replaced the more terrible ones by letting the machines do them instead. It also increased the efficiency and the quality in products, therefore improving the living standards of an average person during that time. But here's the thing, it did improve human lives, but did you ever wonder how do we power those machines? The main reason why the Industrial Revolution started is because a resource called fossil fuels such as coal, oil, and natural gas was burned to generate electricity that is used to power our machinery. Hey, hold on a second. You see that smoke? That smoke is emitted from the burning of fossil fuel. But you know what is in that smoke? In it consists of carbon dioxide and other substances. And the majority of them are greenhouse gases. They are harmful for the environment. Uh-oh. So eventually, many industries worldwide began transitioning to fossil fuel powered automation. And as time went on, the human population after the industrial era had increased exponentially over the 2 centuries. And since the population is now at the highest in recorded history, that will mean that our electricity demands had also increased and will continue to do so as the population grows. That will also result in burning more and more fossil fuels and emitting more and more harmful substances into the atmosphere. And this is called industrial pollution. From the 1800s to 2022, our daily global emissions of greenhouse gases had drastically increased over the 2 centuries. And did you know that industry pollution isn't the only GHG emitter? Transportation, commercial, and residential. Is anyone there? Agriculture and forestry are also major contributors to the never-ending rise of our daily global greenhouse gas emissions. And if we don't take any actions against it, our Earth will be from this to this. But luckily for us, many countries are trying to find solutions to our pending doom. And one of those countries is Singapore.
Like most countries, Singapore is taking big steps into becoming a carbon neutral nation. Countries like the UK, Norway, France, and New Zealand are some examples of the countries that had legally committed to reaching zero greenhouse emissions by 2050. With the idea of powering economies with cleaner energy, replacing polluting fossil fuels with renewable energy sources such as wind and solar power. This will dramatically reduce the carbon emissions, and not only that, renewable energy is now not only cleaner but often cheaper than fossil fuels. But for Singapore, our nation is too dang small and densely populated that you can't even see it through Google Maps without having to zoom in. Meaning, wind and solar power farms can't be wildly constructed in Singapore because there is not enough land for it, as most of it had already been used for residential and commercial purposes. But thankfully, Singapore had an alternative solution by making the switch from oil fuel to natural gas, which Royson didn't mention was apparently the cleanest type of fossil fuel. Over 95% of our electricity is now generated by natural gas fossil fuels, but this was just Singapore's first early measures on tackling climate change. In February 2021, Singapore's Green Plan 2030 was launched. It was to ensure our advancement on Singapore's national agendas on sustainable development, and it seeks to achieve our nation's long-term goal of emitting zero greenhouse emissions by hitting key targets, like planting 1 million trees, quadrupling solar energy deployment, reducing waste sent to the landfill and more, before the end of the year 2030. The term sustainable development or eco-sustainability refers to the conservation of natural resources, the biocapacity in the environment, and its biodiversity. As you know, we burn fossil fuels to generate electricity for our daily usage in this modern world, and many products such as your RTX 3070 Ti GPU paired with an Intel Core i5-12400F CPU processor requires resources to produce. And these resources, however, are not infinite, so if we don't manage our usage of it, eventually we won't have any more left in the future. I mean, you can't just give resources yourself. This isn't Minecraft creative mode, so that's when sustainable development comes into action. By conserving and managing the consumption of our resources, it will ensure our future generation not to be deprived of it. Besides resource sustainability, it also means maintaining a balance in biocapacity. Like for example, if we cut down trees for its natural resource, we should also replant more new trees in return, so that it doesn't harm the biodiversity in that area, and it will also reduce greenhouse gas emissions too. So why is eco-sustainability so important in Singapore? There are many benefits to eco-sustainability, and it is very important here in Singapore. As Singaporeans, we all know how small our country is. It will mean that there is an extremely limited amount of natural resources, and let's not forget that climate change affects our biodiversity too. We need to come up with ways to be able to sustain a balance in the health of our natural resources and biocapacity of the environment, as it contributes to supporting our well-beings and to the communities around us too. Though we tend to think that the health of the economy is the most important, as that is how we obtain our well-being, but that is actually not completely true. It's understandable that most people will think that because we live in one of the most richest countries in the world, but the reason why it's not completely true is that the economy is highly dependent on the natural resources and its people to sustain it. So that is why eco-sustainability is so important in Singapore, because without it, our nation will crumble as we lack natural resources to support our population. Sustainability has also given us a goal of achieving a better economy, where there is better jobs, fewer greenhouse gas emissions, lesser waste and pollution, a better distribution of wealth in the nation, and most importantly, a greener and cleaner Singapore.
Now that Warren had just explained of what eco-sustainability is and its importance to Singapore, I would like to now share with all of you a detailed explanation about a particular sector in sustainable development. So every day in our lives, our resources are typically used for our daily consumption, like the food we eat and the product we use. But after consumption or the item had went over its shelf life, it will be disposed as waste. This is what's known as a linear economy, where you take, make, use, then throw away, basically like a straight line. And as you know, the garbage needs to be disposed somewhere. Either we burn it or throw it into landfills. But neither one of those methods of trash disposal is good nor effective, as burning it will cause carbon emissions, while landfills will eventually fill up within a few years, making it a not viable solution in the long term. But these are just daily challenges that every country faces, whether they are poor or a wealthy one. As for Singapore, we don't have much natural resources and land to dispose such waste. The Samakau landfill, which is Singapore's only landfill, will not be sufficient enough for our current rate of waste generation, due to it eventually filling up in the near future. So in effort of reducing our own sewage and waste, Singapore has adopted a circular economy instead of the traditional linear economy. Circular economy focuses on sustainability in sewage and waste, with the mindset of reusing and recycling natural resources. by maximizing the value of it as to keeping them usable for as long as possible. By manufacturing the product, soon later consuming it, and when the product's life is over, its components and materials can be sent back to manufacturers to be recycled and reused to make new products, essentially renewing its purpose. There are also products that specialize in repurposing its materials and components, so that it's easier for manufacturers to remanufacture it. As for food wastage, it can be put into a treatment system to be converted into fertilizers for plants. Circular economy ensures sustainability as it promotes reuse, recycle, and remanufacturing of our limited natural resources to maximize its usage. It also reduces the creation of waste as well as our emissions of greenhouse gases. Plus, it also encourages sustainable production, consumption, and waste and resource management.
The first job we have on our list from the National University of Singapore for this job title of Research Engineer. Your role is an engineer and you are to use the latest AI technology on climate change and weather forecasting. For this job, the qualifications are at least a bachelor, master degree in civil engineering, hydrology, water resources engineering, optimization, seasonal forecasting, machine learning, or from similar programs, such as extensive experience in developing complex computer codes, example in Python or Shell. Ability to construct and write papers for leading research journals and conferences. Good written and spoken communication. Open to fixed term contract. A career progression is that you to be able to promote to senior program engineer.
Now to compare our skills to requirements, we will be splitting it into technical skills and soft skills. For technical skills, number 1, neither of us have the skills to construct and write papers for leading research journals and conferences because we are not on a standard level for writing. Number 2, only Austin has experience in complex computer coding like Python, but he is only a beginner. Number 3, everyone here is currently studying at NITEC in mechatronics and robotics, and therefore we have skills on machine learning but not a bachelor's degree standard. For soft skills, number 1, everyone except Austin has good written English. Number 2, we have been taught communication skills during our life skills lessons.
Now on to the second job, provided by Semcom Industrial Limited Company. It is a job application as a sustainability program engineer. The responsibility that you are given are accountable for overall group sustainability, data collections, analysis and reporting, manage all GRI data stream from operations indicators for reporting and external audit, conduct sample verification on the data submitted by markets regularly, and more.
It is now time to once again compare our skills to the required ones. For technical skills, we lack every single skill required for this job as neither of these skills were taught to us. For soft skills, number 1, we are self-motivated, detail-oriented, with strong analytical problem solving and have communication skills. Communication skills were taught during life skill. Number 2, Austin is the only one that can draw upon analysis and make recommendations that can directly impact a company. And number 3, everyone are team players that can work independently as this project is currently a group project and we all did our part to contribute.
Now lastly, we are on our last job by Thomas Reuters Corporation Pte. Ltd. In this job, your role will be climate and environment correspondent. Your daily responsibilities are to monitor and report on climate and environmental news, including the latest in important scientific research and discovery. Generate features, ideas, and work on initiative projects and around climate and environmental issues, translating and humanizing technical information to grab a general audience. Have a day-to-day collaboration with climate and environment team colleagues, and frequent work with non-specialist correspondents in all formats around the world. The qualifications for this job that you need are experience reporting on climate change and other environmental issues, and familiarity with science and economics, the ability to write quickly and accurately under deadline pressure. demonstrated ability to produce explanatory or distinctly long-term stories, strong interpersonal skills, and the ability to work closely with various of collaborators, comfort with prioritizing tasks and judging many projects at once. Comfort with prioritizing tasks and juggling many projects at once with varying deadlines. Out written English. As for career progression, you can learn and develop new skills by a training team that the company provides. As a global company, they can offer good career progression, continue opportunities like senior correspondent.
Time for the last gap comparison. For technical skills, neither of us have any of these skills, as most of these are from the design and media courses. For soft skills, number 1, everyone has the ability to focus on different things at once. Number 2, everyone except Warrens and Austin have the skills to write quickly and accurately even when under deadline pressure. Number 3, we don't have the skills to create a diverse of long-form stories, as neither of us are creative. Number 4, everyone here definitely have strong interpersonal skills, as we were taught and had gained experience on it. Number 5, everyone except Austin is excellent in their English language.
After countless hours of research, scripting, and video editing, I can certainly say that we humans are slowly progressing to making the planet uninhabitable as the effects of climate change kicks in. Through social media, I've seen multiple articles talking about disasters that happen due to climate change, such as rising sea levels, which is affecting homes near shorelines, serious droughts in some places, and the destruction of biodiversity. Not only that, natural resources like our fossil fuel are slowly being used up, and the demand for it is getting higher each day. Like the gas prices in many countries are increasing due to the shortage of petrol gas. The effects of climate change has also affected Singapore too. So to combat it, we have a government-approved movement called the Singapore Green Plan 2030 and jobs related to climate change, such as research engineer and climate and environment correspondent. All these jobs and movement ensure sustainability in the health of our biodiversity and natural resources. I believe that my course, Mechatronics and Robotics, can contribute to sustainable development because automation plays a big factor into improving sustainability. With the knowledge learned from my course, I can use it to make new innovations that can tackle any climate or sustainability issue. Not only that, most engineering jobs in the sustainability sector are at least required some skills or a degree that's related to automation. Now that I understand the importance of sustainable development, I would like to apply to the research engineering job because I have all the soft skills required, but I do not have the technical skills for it though. I will need either a bachelor degree in machine learning, seasonal forecasting, optimization, or civil engineering. I also need to have more experience in developing computer codes, as well as to write papers about leading research journals and conferences. I chose this job because the pay is good and it requires skills that I'm interested and capable of. Besides jobs, I can create YouTube videos to spread awareness about sustainability and climate change, and I would rather just buy products that also support a circular economy.